This week, Marilyn Mosby, the Baltimore City State's attorney, best known for prosecuting the officers in the Freddie Gray case, decided to permanently stop prosecuting low-level offenses, including drug possession, trespassing, minor traffic offenses, and other violations. The policy actually began a year ago as a way to reduce the spread of COVID behind bars. But what's the impact? Mosby says violent crime in Baltimore is down a whopping 20%. Which means you can still bring down serious crime without arresting people for low-level offenses like passing a fake $20 bill. So I hope other cities are taking note of this progressive step in righting the many wrongs we've seen grip communities of color when it comes to criminal justice. As we've watched the Derek Chauvin trial play out this week, it has offered a peek into the lives of those who live in overly policed communities. Take Ferguson, Missouri, for instance, where the majority of the population is Black. In 2015, investigators with the Department of Justice discovered that police in Ferguson were directed to generate revenue for the city's budget by using fines, fees, and other various tactics by targeting Black working-class people. In a city where the median household income is barely $40,000 a year, a single missed, late, or partial payment of a fine for a small violation could potentially mean jail time. In fact, it did for at least one person. The DOJ cited a Ferguson resident who was ticketed for parking her car illegally. That single infraction ended up costing one woman more than $1,000 in fines and 6 days in jail. According to researchers at the University of Minnesota, the payments of outstanding fines and fees were pursued so aggressively that in 2013, they made up 1/5 of Ferguson's entire revenue base, an 80% increase over just 2 years prior. Black people were funding a system that was oppressing them and bleeding them dry. Again, these predatory tactics are not unusual, nor are they specific to any city. Municipalities across this country have been practicing them for decades. According to that same University of Minnesota study, predatory tactics expanded dramatically during the Great Recession that began in 2007, when tax collections dropped due to the weak economy. So municipalities needed to find more sources of revenue, and where'd they come looking? To the pockets of poor Black folks. The Justice Department report noted that from 2012 to 2014, African Americans accounted for 85% of vehicle stops in Ferguson, 90% of citations, and 93% of arrests made by officers, despite comprising only 67% of Ferguson's population. But how did the DOJ even find out about all this? Yes. This was all uncovered as the Justice Department was investigating the deadly shooting of Michael Brown at the hands of a white police officer. Black people in distant and recent history have long had to die in spectacular fashion to pierce the whitewashed narratives of our lived experience in America. This type of systemic oppression that not only costs us our lives, but also our livelihoods, must be brought to a screeching halt. A free people demand it. The new generation of activists spurred by George Floyd's murder demand it. And though she was ultimately unsuccessful in convicting police officers in the death of another Black man, Marilyn Mosby had this message for us all.
And as young people, our time is now.
Indeed it is. We'll be right back.